I hope you guys are having a good day. I know that I am. I am having a good day, but I'm a little bit sad. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little bit sad and really a little bit frightened in the sense that, you know, um, some of you just saw kind of what went down with Bill Cosby, how that whole situation kind of turned into a big old mess. And and the reason that I'm a little nervous is because it's almost like when you saw the slaughtering of the Jews, there were Jewish people who thought that the slaughtering of the Jews wasn't a big deal because they thought, well, they're not slaughtering all the Jews, they're just slaughtering the criminals. So they're not taking down all the Jews, they're just taking down the greedy ones. And what people didn't realize is that after they went after them, they were going to come after you. And so the thing that was on my mind today is, this lynching, this public lynching of Bill Cosby, this whole situation with Cosby, how it went down, how he's, now facing prison time. He's going to prison. He's in handcuffs now. He's incarcerated as we speak right now. Bill Cosby, America's dad, the man who made, tons and tons, who received every award and made, just hundreds of millions of dollars. He's now a prison inmate, and Cosby's not just going to, he's not going to white people's prison. He's not going to rich people's prison. He's going to state prison. State prison is a much, much darker place. It's a place you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. It's a terrible place for an old man to be. I know that's for sure. And it's just sad. It's sad to see, And so anyway, as I get started on this conversation, I got a few things I'd like to say on that. I'm not going to keep you guys long, but I'd like for you to please make sure that you hit the thumbs up button, share button, like button, subscribe button. And also, if you get a chance to join blagenough.com, Blag Enough is where we're having a deep conversation about all of this. Blag Enough, Blaggenuf, Blaggenuf. That's our social media platform for Black people. It's kind of like a Facebook for Black folks. And it's a place where you can go hang out and be free and talk about what you want to talk about without worrying about being persecuted and attacked and all that stuff. And yes, the BNC, that's ABNC, that's the hashtag. ABNC is for the All Black National Convention, which ironically, this week is taking place right here in Philadelphia, where Bill Cosby's from, so it's kind of crazy that I literally landed, or actually I was taking off in my flight to Philly right when I heard about the Cosby sentence, right when literally it was announced. I was on my flight to Philly. And so what I did to try to get a sense of the pulse of the community, to get a sense of how Black folks are feeling about this. Of course, I'd like to see your comments as well on this, but let's see. Peace Johnson says, I just joined and it's awesome. You just joined Blag Enough. Yeah, Blag Enough is really awesome. Blag Enough is where I'm doing most of my social media stuff because I had to do that because Facebook keeps banning you for being too Black. They ban you for being too quote unquote radical and all this other stuff. And it's just the kind of thing that is kind of silly. Let me see. I didn't receive a text message in a couple of days. I just happened to be on YouTube. Yeah, David. The reason you're not getting text messages yet right now is because we actually our subscriber base has gotten so big that we can't text everybody all the time. And it costs money to send out text messages. But actually, if you want to be on our text list and you want to get a text from me whenever I go live or whenever something's going down, just text the word Boyce. Just type in the word Boyce in your phone. Do it right now if you want to. Text Boyce, the word Boyce, to this number. The number is 31996, 31996. So take a second and do that if you want to. And actually, while you do that, I'm gonna dig up these poll results. So text the word Boyce to 31996 and we'll be super connected. And that's really a good protective measure for Black security, for our security, because basically we don't know what day Facebook is going to take me down or other Black people down. They taken Farrakhan down many times. They've taken Tariq Nasheed down on YouTube and Facebook a lot. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys, who's an activist now, they take him down. Zaza Ali, I'm sure they mess with her. And even Jay Morrison. I bet Jay Morrison has even gotten it. So basically anything that's too Black, it doesn't really fit real well with Facebook. So what we're trying to do is, instead of complaining, we're actually trying to build something of our own. So that's what this is about. That's what the All Black National Convention is about, which happens this weekend in Philadelphia. That's what all this is about. So anyway, let me give you the poll results from Blag Enough. So I polled the Black people in Blag Enough to ask them about the Cosby case. And the question I asked was this. I said, now the poll results are still fresh. Not a ton of people have responded, but I'm a statistician. My master's degree is in mathematical statistics. So you can actually begin the inference process at this stage. Like I have enough data to begin to tell you what it's sort of shaping out to become. And basically, here's what here's what the people at Black Enough are saying about the Cosby case. So the question was, how do you feel about the Bill Cosby sentencing? And the first answer was, or sorry, 50%, half of all Black people, half of all the Black people that responded on this poll said he should not have been sentenced at all. Half of all the people in this poll, half of that representation of the Black community says he shouldn't have been sentenced at all. Now let's be clear: the people of Black Enough, you know, these are very conscious Black people. These are Black people that have a strong Black identity. You know, it's a very Black space. It's not, you know, and it's not a space that's big on things like integration and hoping white people will come save us or Democrat Republican crap. These are just Black people that want to be Black. They want to be free. They want to build. They want to work with other Black people. They love other Black folks. So you're getting a very Black identity. Maybe if you took a poll of the general public, you might get something different. But on Black Enough, you know, these Black folks, half of them feel that he shouldn't have been sentenced at all. 34% think he should have gotten probation. So if you add those two numbers up, what that says is that 84% of all the Black people who responded to this poll, 84% said that they feel that Cosby should not have been sent to prison, that he should have either gotten no prison time, no probation, no nothing, or that he should have just gotten probation, right? So that's what the data is saying so far. Now there are people now there's another 5% that says that he should have been sent to prison, but just not 3 to 10 years. He got 3 to 10 years in prison. There's 5% that say, look, send him to prison, but you know, make it 6 months, make it a year, make something like that, but don't make it 3 to 10 years because the man's old. The man is 81 years old. 81 years. Can you imagine that, being 81 years old, facing 3 to 10 years in prison? You know, I mean, that's a death sentence, you know, for a lot of people. That's a death sentence. That's why I call it the Bill Cosby death sentence, because don't be surprised, especially if Cosby raises a stink while he's in prison. You know, because remember, his wife is out there fighting for him. You know, God bless Camille Cosby. Camille Cosby is the original. She's the original Claire Huxtable. She's the original Michelle Obama. You know, she taught the Michelle Obamas and the Claire Huxtables how to be a lady, how to be a woman, how to be a strong woman, right? God bless anybody who gets an opportunity to be married to a woman that gracious, you know, in public. You know, and Bill probably did not deserve her. You know, I think Bill I do believe Bill was a serial cheater. I do believe Bill was doing things he shouldn't have done. He did things that didn't make any sense. You know, you're 60 years old, you know, 55 years old, whatever. 18-year-old women are coming to you, looking at you as a father figure. You know, maybe if you slip up once or twice and do a little something on the side or whatever, a lot of people can forgive you for that, especially if you're rich. Just being real. Like on Fly Nubian Queen, they were debating this. They were talking about whether or not it's okay for a rich man to have a side chick. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. But there's a lot of women who say, you know what, I've talked to women who say, look, I give my husband a hall pass. He wants it all the time. I can't give him everything he wants, but he's a good man. He just has an overactive body part or two, right? Or, you know, and some women are like, okay, I can look past that, even though I'm not saying I recommend it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that I think that if it had come out that Bill Cosby slept with 5 women, you know, over a 20-year period that he was not married to, it wouldn't even make the news. It wouldn't even be a headline. It wouldn't even be in the, nobody would talk about it. It wouldn't even make a tabloid, right? If it had been 20 women, I think it would have barely made a headline, right? The problem is it was like hundreds it's like dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of women, you know, women that were like a third his age, not even half, I'm talking about a third his age, you know? And so I think that, you know, I think that's the part where you feel like, man, he didn't really deserve whatever he had going on at home. Because, you know, it's one thing if you and your spouse don't get along and, you know, you decide to do your thing, she's doing her thing, and everybody, because that's the thing they don't tell you about marriage. A lot of y'all young people out here, they don't tell you the other side of marriage. There's a lot of married people out here looking all happy, smiling, looking all perfect, like the perfect couple. You go behind the curtain, you pull the curtain back, shit, that marriage is a mess. They've totally let go of the idea of even sleeping in the same bed. I'm not trying to be pessimistic when I say it. I'm just saying I've seen this. I have friends like that, right? You would never guess that what their marriage was like behind the scenes, you know? And so marriage is complicated. Marriage is complex. Sometimes people do awkward things to keep the family together. And I don't even fault those people. I'm not making fun of them at all. I don't make fun of them all, because the other thing about marriage is that marriage is a commitment. You know, I'm talking about Bill and Camille here. No, so marriage is a commitment. Now, what is a commitment? A commitment means that you say you're going to do something. That means you're going to do it, right? A commitment is not like, oh, well, I'm going to be with you forever unless you piss me off, right? That's not really a commitment. That's a conditional statement, right? That's not a commitment. A commitment means I said I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Commitment is unconditional. Commitment means even if you do something that I don't expect, I'm not going to allow you to change who I am. You're not going to make me break my commitment just because you broke yours or just because you turned out to not be a person that follows through. That's hard. That's why commitment is something that you got to think through. You got to think through commitments. If you really are, you know, if in fact people ask me this all the time, they're like, Dr. Boyce, why did you get married? You know, you support and promote Black marriage. We actually just made a movie that's going to be coming out. We're going to show the trailer at the All Black National Convention this weekend. It's called the Black Love Blueprint. I'm big on supporting marriage. I think it's a wonderful, courageous thing to do. I will get married at some point, but people are like, well, why didn't you get married sooner? You should have got married in your 20s. And it was because in my life, I was always taught commitment means you stick to whatever you said you're going to do, even if it goes bad. I never thought that, okay, if things get bad and I get unhappy or I have a few bad months or a couple bad years, I'm just going to bounce. If that had been the case, maybe I would have got married when I was younger. I mean, I had friends that got married when we were 22 years old, and some of them had more sex as a married man than I had as a single man. I mean, we're just getting it in. So for them, it was all cosmetic. It was all about the perception of commitment. I always felt that substance was more important than flash. So part of the reason that I've always looked at, and this is true in life in general, if you ever want to join a commitment with another person, like, or make a loan or invest in a business with somebody, don't invest in the business or make the commitment or loan the money to the person who makes easy promises, because easy promises get easily broken all the time. That don't mean nothing. I had a cousin like that who would make every promise in the world to every woman he met, and none of the promises were worth even a fake dollar bill. Like, none of the commitments were ever worth anything. But he would tell you what you wanted to hear, and they loved it. You don't make the commitment with the person who makes the easy promise. You make the commitment with the person who is hard to get to commit. Because typically the person who won't commit is usually a person who's really thought it through. Like student loans. Like, there's students who just borrow because they just want the money. They're not even thinking about how they're going to pay it back. Then there's a student who's like, oh God, I got to think about that. I got to process that. I don't know if I want to make that commitment because I've already thought about how hard it's going to be to pay back $50,000. Or you go back to NWA, when the way that Jewish guy, the Jerry Heller guy, got over on NWA was he sat all them dudes down and he put an $80,000 check in front of all of them. And he said, just sign this document. All you got to do is make this little commitment, sign this little piece of paper, and you have 80 grand in the bank. Just more money than you've ever seen in your life. More money you've ever seen in your life. Dr. Dre, sign. Yellow Boy, sign. Easy E, sign. Everybody sign. Ice Cube was like, nah, I'm not signing nothing. I'm not making that commitment because I don't want you locking down my hip hop career for the rest of my life, right? So commitment, when you talk about Cosby and Camille and commitment, I applaud Camille. I don't think Camille is a dumb woman at all. I think Camille was a courageous woman who has more moral fiber than 99.9% of all people out here. I feel bad for her. I think that they were committed to each other in their own special way. I don't even know if Bill's commitment was that bad. It sounded like Bill got around. I think Bill embarrassed the family. I think that's probably what she's more upset about than him getting with other women. I think also, because there's a difference in being married to Bill Cosby, who gets around, but he's still holding it down and maintaining the family empire, versus having to go to the state prison that's dingy and dirty and dark, and they treat you like a felon. Anybody who's ever visit a state penitentiary before? You ever been to a state penitentiary? They treat you like a criminal. By visiting a person at the penitentiary, you get treated like a criminal. And you ain't even got to be in the jail. They will treat you like, that's why a lot of people are scared to go see their relatives. Say, man, I got warrants and police made me nervous, because they treat you like a criminal. It's a terrible place to be. So you're talking to your husband in a damn dirty ass jumpsuit, looking through some dingy, glass, and it's terrible. So I think that for Camille, I'm willing to bet you that being married to Bill Cosby was great. Even when he was getting around, I bet it was still great. Where she's like, yeah, that man can't control his penis, but shoot, we got $300 million in the bank. I can get on an airplane and go see the Queen of England whenever I want. President Obama is calling my cell phone. Like, that's a trade-off. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what it is. That was a good life for her. I'll put it this way. I'm not going to say I can't speak for her, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was like, man, whatever. This is a great life. But I think now that great life has been turned into something that's ugly, messy, and public. I think that despite how we might analyze the Bill Cosby sentencing, which I think was wrong, 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 it was dead, dead, dead wrong. It was illegal. It was criminal to do that. It was racist as hell. But you still can't go past looking at Bill and saying, what were you thinking, dude? What were you thinking? You were a puppy who was given a gigantic backyard and you still wanted to go run out in the street. Seriously, I mean, there's something that seems to occur when you talk about some of these brothers that get up in Hollywood and get all this money. Something that happens, something that occurs where they kind of lose track of reality. They just kind of, they live in this other universe. They literally get to where they damn near seem like they're living on another planet. And it's fascinating because they literally forget that they're Black. They forget that. I go through this. I see this all the time. I remember I've been to Hollywood. I've been around movie stars. I've been around multi-millionaire Negroes, and I observe everything. I went to a Hollywood party. And I was just watching some of the Black people and how they operated, and I would see this brother around all these white women, and I would be like, man, how do you do that? How do you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Like how the white women clutch their purse when a Black man walks around? Like, I clutch my testicles a little. I back up. I get a little, it doesn't mean I have anything against white women. It doesn't mean I'm scared of them from a physical standpoint. But when a white woman, I kid you, I had a white woman that I went to grad school with a long time ago, and she went out of her way to tell me that she likes Black men. Like, she said something like, Neil deGrasse Tyson is so sexy, I would fuck him in a minute. That's what she's saying that to me. And remember, I'm a nerdy, highly educated Black PhD. So it's kind of like, hey, I'm down with that. I'm down with getting in bed with a Black man. And I swear to God, I felt so weird. I felt so awkward and nervous. I did not know how to respond. Because I was like, number one, there's nothing about you that I'm attracted to. Everything that I like in a woman, you don't have. I like the curves. I like the booty and y'all seen Dr. Alicia. Y'all know she got it going on, right? So I like all of that. And most of the time, Becky ain't got that unless it's artificially inseminated. Artificial body parts, that doesn't impress me. Like, what are you, like a transformer with detachable body parts or something like that, or Lego or something like these artificial, like, I'm gonna get some injected in my butt and get these plastic titties attached to my body, like, does nothing for me. It does nothing for me, right? Black woman, beautiful, sexy, delicious, luscious, and made by God, like kissed by Mother Nature and God and sunshine, and you mix all that together with throw in a little honey, and you get the sexiest Black woman in the world, right? You get what Black women can bring to the table that nobody else can match, right? So really, Becky never did. So it was easy for me to walk away from Becky because Becky was never anything I was interested in anyway. But then also, there's also just the principle behind it. When I was a kid, my mother put me onto the struggles of being a Black woman. My mother just kind of said, and it's funny, my parents were not super blackety Black people. Like, they actually watch Fox News and stuff. Like, my parents are very interesting people. But my mother said, she said, it's hard out here for a Black woman. It's really hard for us to find the right kind of man and everything else. And when I heard that, I became sensitive to, I became sensitive to what Black women go through. And so when I had that conversation with my mom, or heard her say that at 16, I remember just saying, okay, if I ever get married, I'm going to marry a Black woman, because I feel like the greatest gift that a man can give to a woman is marriage. Like, that's huge. Marriage is emotional security, it's financial security, it's everything else, and a whole lot of other stuff. It's status, it's all of that, right? Your wife is kind of the, you're telling the world, like, your wife is kind of the number one person in your life. Like, she's not a girlfriend, she's not a side chick, she's not a companion. She's your queen, your partner, all this other stuff. So I always said, well, I don't know if I'm going to get married. I never would let anybody tell me what I had to do. I was never a person who said, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let the world force me to get married. No, you're not forcing me to do anything. But I always said, if I make that decision and when I make that decision, why not marry a black woman? Doesn't mean that there aren't some great white women out there, maybe some great Hispanic or Asian women out there. I don't know. But Hispanic men can marry Hispanic women. You know, Asian men can marry Asian women. White men can marry white women. And as a black man, you know, you pushing your empire, you sharing your wealth. You know, why not share that with a black person? Because then you're going to pass that into the black community. You know, in fact, think about this. Tiger Woods, you know, is going to be worth $1 billion by the time he dies, and he married one white woman, and then I think he's got another one. And so the first white woman, I think, got about $250 million off of him. The second one will probably get $500 million when he dies. And so you think about that, that's a massive wealth transfer out of the black community. Black people are losing big time because we've got our billionaires, our multimillionaires giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to white people. White people don't need your money. They don't want your money. They don't care about your money. You know, so ultimately, I think that, you know, that the whole thing about brothers and in Hollywood and kind of getting on this other weird wavelength is very strange. I think it's also very strange that a lot of the leading black sex symbols that you know about in Hollywood are with white people, Michael B. Jordan, people like that. And I almost feel like that's a little bit insulting to black women because it's kind of weird. It's like you have this intense admiration for these men. Like you put them on your wall, you fantasize about them, you would give them some ass in a second, right? If you're gonna have sex with somebody, you might as well be a good looking man like a Michael B. Jordan or whatever, right? He's fine. He's a powerful, he's famous, he's good looking, whatever. But they don't. But when it comes time for them to pick their queen, when it comes time for them to pick the person who gets the big piece of chicken in their life, the person who gets the power, the benefits from the power that they've accumulated, they look right past you. They look right past you. And I think that as black men, we should just be ashamed of that. I just really do. I think that, you know, with Cosby, I bet if you were to add up all the money he's given to white women in his life, it's probably well over $100 million at least. He's probably donated well over $100 million to white supremacy. I'm not saying that Cosby was a good guy and, you know, and the drug culture was kind of crazy. And I'm not going to say he's not a sick guy. He might be really sick, but I'm just kind of like, man, like, I mean, I don't know. I just wonder, like, if he could have had, I mean, I wonder if there were black women out there that would have been happy to be his side chick. Why not give them the job? You know, like that's what I'm saying. You know, like really, I'm not judging. I'm not belittling anybody, but it's like, I'm sure Bill Cosby had plenty of black women that were like, hey girl, that's Bill Cosby. I'm gonna get with him, you know? And he wasn't even looking at them. He was looking right past them. And then, so not only was he kind of disrespecting black women, but I think for black men, I think that especially for black men who had a little status, it was kind of a big thing for them, like to get access to the white woman, like because they think so low of themselves and their own people that they were really excited to finally have a chance to get with a white woman. Let's be clear about that, right? So maybe for Cosby, that was kind of, you know, his MO as well. Like he's excited because, you know, now he can get this thing that he's never had before. And I think that for men in that generation, that's kind of the mentality. Because you remember Quincy Jones and people like that, like a lot of them, they just love Becky. Like they love the shit out of Becky, you know? And so, so anyway, going back to Cosby's thing, here's the thing. Okay, so by the way, before I move on, make sure you hit the share button or the thumbs up button. If you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button and support the video, support the channel. Also, don't forget this weekend, the All Black National Convention is happening in Bill Cosby's hometown, Philadelphia. It's going to be this weekend. You can learn more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So Cosby is now facing a death sentence. He was sentenced to 3 to 10 years to prison, and he is 81 years old, which means that there's a good chance he may die in prison. It is what it is. I mean, ain't nothing you can do about it. I will say this, that, you know, it's really awkward to even talk about Cosby in a way that would lead people to think that I am defending him, even though the word defense doesn't mean you like the person or you think that they're innocent. Defending, everybody deserves a defense, actually, according to the law, right? Even criminals who were caught on videotape get a defense attorney, right? So defending a person doesn't mean you like them or that you think that they're innocent or that you agree with what they might have done. Defending them just means you believe that they have a right to fairness, right? They just fairness, just justice, like everybody else. Everybody gets justice, no matter who you are, right? So when you think about Cosby, As a person, I was never a fan of Cosby. I never, I knew a lot about him behind the scenes too. I knew people that, I would, just kind of, just when you kind of get in this space where you meet entertainers and politicians and all that, you hear stuff about people. And I remember kind of getting a bad impression of Cosby, that he was kind of arrogant, kind of disrespectful, stuff like that. And I didn't like that at all. I also thought that he was a little self-righteous toward the Black community, in terms of some of his speeches. I thought what he was doing made sense. I liked what he was trying to do, but I didn't like the way he did it. And I think that he got a kind of a God complex. I really think that he felt like he was just truly just like the Messiah, just better than everyone, and could just tell everyone what to do and tell everybody why they're wrong. Now, the thing about Cosby, though, the flip side of that is that you got to also remember that Cosby did stuff for the Black community that no Black celebrity today will ever do. There is no Black celebrity anywhere, no Black celebrity anywhere who has even given 1/10 of the money that Cosby and Camille gave to HBCUs. Not one. Cosby and Camille gave $20 million to Spelman in the 1980s. Beyonce gave like $400,000. Like, so she literally gave about, if you look at it, 20 million in 1988 is about $44 million today, if I'm not mistaken, if you adjust for inflation. So Beyonce basically gave about 1% of what Bill Cosby gave. 1%. And everybody's going crazy and cheering and so happy and proud and like, oh, look at Beyonce doing it, girl. That ain't nothing compared to what Bill and Camille did. Bill and Camille took it to a whole nother level, and all the celebrities that might want to talk down on this man's family or whatever they want to do, they can't match, what he did for the community, what he and his wife did. They can't come close to that. So let's just be clear. Like, if you really hate, or attacking or whatever, like, what are you doing? You could be doing more. You brag about how much money you're worth. Well, it doesn't matter how much money you're worth if you're not helping Black people with it. If you're not helping Black people with it, then you brag about how much money you have, then that pretty much makes you an idiot. That makes you a terrible person, because all you're doing is basically, it's like holding up food over a hungry kid and saying, look at how much food I got. Watch me eat this chicken, fool, or whatever. And I'm sitting here bragging to the kid about how much food I got. And he's sitting here like, man, I'm starving. Like, what am I supposed to do? Cheer for you? Like, am I supposed to clap? Like, what the hell you want me to do? Like, pass some food, motherfucker. Like, seriously, that's what a kid would be saying. He'd be like, feed me, damn it. So anyway, Cosby and his wife did a lot for the Black community. And here's the thing. When they took Cosby down with this high-tech lynching, modern-day lynching death sentence that they just gave him, there's a message behind this. The message is to remind you of who's in charge. During slavery, when they wanted to get the slaves straight, when they wanted the slaves to be reminded of who had the power, what they would do is they would find the biggest, strongest slave, the one that was the biggest threat to massa, the one that they thought, was leading the other slaves. And they would pull that big slave, the big, strong guy that everybody admired, everybody looked up to. They would put him in front of everybody, and they would beat him. They would maybe rape him, and then they might kill him. And they do all of that publicly to remind you that we are still in charge. They remind you that you ain't got no real power. You can't do nothing. And so when you look at Bill Cosby, I mean, think about this. This man, I bet if I Googled the awards that Bill Cosby has won, he's probably won hundreds of awards, dozens of them from the Black community, for being one of the most powerful, most respected, wealthiest, most influential Black men in the history of this country. I mean, this is a man who sat next to people like Bill Clinton, whom, by the way, if he was Black, Bill Clinton would have been in prison a long time ago. I mean, pay attention now. Think about this. Think about this for a second. I want you to process it. Some people don't like it. Some people are like, oh, you're defending Cosby. People like that, they're just stupid. I'm not even talking to them because they're not really hearing what I'm saying. Smart people get what I'm saying. Y'all know that I don't have no love for Cosby. I'm not his buddy, but I'm talking about truth here. But think about this for a second. Process this. This man's going to prison because he grabbed a titty. He grabbed a woman's titty. I mean, titty grabbing ain't cool. Never grab a titty that doesn't belong to you. You can't do that. But he's going to prison for grabbing a titty. Bill Clinton has probably done a whole lot more than grab some titties. Countless women have accused Bill Clinton of doing far more than titty grabbing over the years. Also, think about this. throughout this entire trial, they have not presented one piece of evidence to support their claim. They have produced nothing. There was no DNA, no video, no witnesses. I mean, there's nothing to prove. No rape kit, like nothing proven that this happened. Nothing. But their trump card, which is ironic, we're using a word like Trump. The trump card is that the words of Becky are like gold. It's like a MasterCard or something, you know, like literally like AAA credit. Becky can walk up in the courtroom, and this is what you need to warn your sons about. If you got a son, a brother, or uncle, cousin, or if you are a black man yourself, you need to warn everybody, every black man you know, that Becky's words will overcome any amount of proof or evidence of your innocence. Becky's words will overcome anything that ever comes out of your mouth. That when you and Becky go into that room and shut the door and turn the lights out, and nobody on earth sees what happens in that room except you, Becky, and Jesus, that when she comes out, her word is going to Donald Trump your words. That what Becky says happened in that room is going to trump and overwhelm anything that comes out of your black ass mouth. There is nothing you can say that will lead them to think that Becky is anything other than the innocent victim of a brutish black man. Even if she has no proof. She don't need no proof. That's white girl magic. White girl magic is that she can say anything about anybody that happened at any time, even if the statute of limitations have passed, and they will believe her as if it happened this morning on video in front of 10,000 witnesses. That's the fascinating thing about this. That's the part that's kind of scary. That's the part that reminds all of us, especially those who have a black man in your life that you care about. It might be you. You might be the black man in your life you care about. It reminds you of what you're up against. You're literally living through an Adolf Hitler-like Nazi regime type of era. This is a mixture of Hitler Nazi era, of McCarthyism, of fascism, of the Salem witch trials. It's a mixture of basically every period, the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition. It's a mixture of every period in human history in which human beings decided that one group of people was going to be persecuted. And don't act like you don't know what you're talking about. Don't act all brand new like this is a surprise to you, because this has really been going on for 400 years. Y'all know this, right? Y'all understand we've been black for the whole time that we've been here. So when you think about all of this, Becky's magical words and how Becky's magical words can lead to a death sentence, I'm reminded actually of another case that was a little bit similar to this, and it was a case of Emmett Till. Remember, Emmett Till was lied on by this white woman who said he touched me, and that led to some white men kidnapping him and murdering him. Black Wall Street got burned down because a white woman said this black man touched me and rubbed his body up against me. The media ran with it, the police ran with it, white men ran with it, and they ran across town with guns and bombs, and they murdered black people, burned down their houses, took all their shit, destroyed their whole community, because a white woman said, because Becky in her magical words basically said, this black man did something to me. So the interesting thing, the thing that you should really pay attention to is that let me see, let me get rid of this person here. Okay, this person is okay. The interesting thing about this that I think you got to really process is you have to ask yourself, why is it that they were willing to send Bill Cosby to prison even though he's old? They violated the law. They didn't need any evidence. They broke every promise that they made. They promised that certain statements would be sealed. They broke that promise. They promised certain things wouldn't be prosecuted. They broke that promise. They literally bent every single rule imaginable to convict him and didn't care about his age. But not one single time have they ever gone and tried to convict the woman, who's now also about Bill Cosby's age, maybe slightly older. They've never gone back to try to convict her for getting Emmett Till murdered. Think about this. They never ever talk about that. They never talked about trying to go get her, but they went after Bill Cosby. So, this justice system, there's no reason to have any faith in it. None. Every promise they make, they can break it. If they ever promise you that, oh yeah, you're going to be protected, you're under witness protection, that could be a lie. If they ever tell you, oh yeah, we'll give you immunity, that could be a lie. If they ever tell you, oh no, we're going to seal it, no one else will ever see this, that could be a lie. Like the thing about this case that's really fascinating is that there is really no credibility that the system has. Because here's the thing, Bill Cosby should not have been released because he's innocent. Bill Cosby should be released because he's not been proven guilty. Those are two different things. Being innocent is not the same as being not guilty. In our judicial system, you have this thing called reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt isn't just the title of a Jay-Z album. Reasonable doubt is the standard that they're supposed to pursue, where they've actually stated many times that they'd rather let a guilty man go free than to send an innocent man to prison. In fact, I think they said they'd rather let 1,000 guilty men go free than to send one innocent man to prison. That's the statement that some famous judge said or something. I forgot. I got to go look it up. That's the way it was designed according to the Constitution. So reasonable doubt means that if there is any reasonable person that could have any doubt that there's not enough evidence to convict this person or to send this person to prison, then they should let them go. They're supposed to let them go. They're supposed to be not guilty. So O.J. Simpson is a perfect example. O.J. Simpson was not innocent. I didn't believe O.J. was innocent. But I firmly believe O.J. was not guilty because they had not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he killed Nicole Brown Simpson. But that case was also muddled because everybody wants to believe that Becky is this wonderful little angel who never hurt a fly. And they painted her to be this beautiful angelic figure when she was a crazy crackhead. I mean, think about it. What kind of ridiculous, stupid person would want to be hanging around O.J. Simpson anyway, right? So, but they didn't do that. They paint her to be this angelic figure. That's what they do. That's how the media operates. So in the Bill Cosby situation, anybody who tells you, and I want you to keep this in mind, anybody who goes around saying, oh yeah, Dr. Boyce was saying Bill Cosby's innocent and that he's defending and supporting Bill Cosby, make sure you correct them. Make sure you say that, no, Dr. Boyce actually doesn't like Cosby. And also Dr. Boyce thinks Cosby is probably guilty of some of the stuff he's been accused of. But what Dr. Boyce is saying is that he's not guilty based on the standard of justice that is supposed to exist in the criminal justice system that does not exist for the black man. The black man does not have access to justice in America, nor has he ever had access to justice in America. This ain't nothing new. Cosby just got the Paul Mooney wake-up call. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm trying not to cuss, so I'm not going to say it. But y'all know the Paul Mooney wake-up call? He got the wake-up call like, oh, you thought that having $100 million in the bank means you're not black anymore. Okay. Because there's a whole lot of white guys out here doing far worse than anything Cosby ever did. And the other crazy thing about it, like people say, well, what about all the allegations? There's that many allegations and it must be. Yeah, it probably does mean something. But the problem is that they let anybody come off the street and make an allegation who was looking to get paid. Janice Dickerson, they caught her lying. They found out she was one of. You think she's the only one in there lying? I mean, think about it. A lot of these women were drug addicts. A lot of them say, "Oh, he drugged me. He gave me Quaaludes against my will." Well, wait a minute. You was taking Quaaludes on your own every other day of the week. So how do we know the difference between him giving you the Quaalude when you didn't want it and him giving you the Quaalude when you asked for it? Like, how do we know? Like, think about this. Like, everybody made a big deal about that statement. Like, have you ever given Quaaludes to women for sex? That doesn't mean he gave it to them against their will. These women were asking for. They're like, hey, Bill, you got any Quaaludes? Like, these were the types. Some of these women were drug addicts. Many of them kept friendships with Cosby for many years after the allegations or after the alleged incident took place. Forget a police report. Forget a police report. I mean, think about this. Like, didn't report anything to the cops, said Bill Cosby's fine, were bragging to their friends that they know him, going to his house, calling him for money, hanging out with him every chance they could, and then he cussed them off. Next thing you know, oh yeah, that nigga raped me. Oh, he raped me. He did it to me. It was bad. It was terrible. Again, white girl magic, right? Leaning on the power of the words of Becky. Becky knows. Becky knows. Becky ain't stupid. Becky knows the power of her words. A black woman, or a white woman actually that was dating an NFL player who plays for Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. He got in trouble with the NFL on alleged domestic violence, but actually him and his attorneys fought back, his family fought back, because there was proof, witnesses that heard this white girl say, again, I'm telling you, I don't understand why these guys want to hang out with Becky so much. I already gave my whole reason behind it, to be honest with you. But anyway, basically they heard her say, I'm a white girl. She said, I'm a white girl. You're black. I can ruin your whole career. I swear to God, look it up. Look it up. Becky knows the power of her words. Now, this ain't, if you happen to be a white girl or have got friends who are white, this ain't nothing against no white person. This ain't nothing against nobody. If you're one of the good ones, then I'm gonna be good to you too. You know, that's fine. Just don't threaten me and scare the hell out of me and make me afraid to even be around you, because you've got a type of power that that I've never known as a black man. I don't know the type of power in the American justice system where people are going to believe anything I say, even if I have no proof and the statute of limitations has already passed, and I already promised not to prosecute, and I was paid $3.5 million because somebody allegedly grabbed my boob, and I have never proven that anyway. I don't have that power. I've never imagined that. I don't know what it's like as a black man to be able to get millions of dollars from somebody just because of something that I said that they did, even though there's no proof that it actually happened, and it happened many, many years ago. I can't say. In 1985, a white man, I tried to get a job, and the white man called me the N-word, and he and when I tried to get the job, he hurt my feelings, and I felt racially assaulted, and I felt like I had just been raped, and it was a terrible feeling, and I don't have any proof that it happened, but I need y'all to go find him, and I need y'all to go ruin his life. Like, I can't do that. I can't go back. Think about this. Imagine if black people had the power tomorrow. Imagine a world where we had the power tomorrow, where every black person who's ever had anything racist happen to them could go to the feds and say, Mr. Wilson, I have a neighbor named Joe. One day, Joe burned a cross in my yard, and he called me the N-word, and he shot my dog. I don't have the proof, because I don't have proof that I had the dog. I lost the receipts, but he did. He shot my dog, and it happened in 1984. And it traumatized me. It made me feel like I was a victim of a lynching. It made me feel like I had just been burned alive and raped while I was being burned alive. And it was traumatizing, and I've had to go to therapy for 20 years. And Bill is now a judge, and I need you to disbar him, take him off the bench, and disbar him, and put him on the cover of the New York Times and publicly humiliate him and destroy him. And I don't need any proof because I'm black, and but because I said so, then it must be true. Imagine if black people had that kind of power. Like, it would be total chaos. Because black people got shit that we can actually prove. We can actually prove things. We can prove that the cop shot Tyrone at the mall, even though Tyrone didn't have a gun. We got video. We pull out the cell phone camera. We doing your job, man. We're collecting evidence for you. Y'all ignore that shit. Y'all be like, well, yeah, well, the quality of the video is a little bit grainy, and even though it is a close-up and a bird's eye view, it appears to be that way. But even though it looks like he shot Tyrone, technically Tyrone could have been shooting himself, but that could have been another person's bullet going in Tyrone's head, even though the officer was firing at the exact same time. Like they literally, they won't even think about this. Pay attention now. This is a trip. They won't even indict the cop. They will. An indictment is nothing. If there's 100 cases that are seeking indictment, like 98 of them will get through the indictment stage before they get to the trial. Like, losing an indictment is hard to do. Most prosecutors tell me, maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, but most prosecutors I've spoken to tell me that getting an indictment is not that hard. They can't even get a cop indicted even when he kills a black person on video. On video. Becky's just got her words with no evidence, and she getting convictions like that. We got video, and we still can't even get an indictment. Are you kidding? Are you serious? So you live in kind of a crazy world. I mean, this is sick. This is sad. This is scary. Very scary. I don't know what else to say. I'm done. I'm done. I've already said my piece. Thank you for hearing me out, and I love all of you, and I hope you'll come to the convention. We're going to talk about this at the All Black National Convention. There's a lot to discuss. If you want to learn more about the convention, visit allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Somebody please type that in so other people can see it. It's allblacknationalconvention.com. If you want to check out the live stream, somebody type this in for me too. It's abncdigital.com. It's our study group online. If you join abncdigital.com, you can actually come into the study group, which would allow you to watch the live stream of the convention and see all the previous conventions, the convention I had with Farrakhan, the convention we had in London. You can watch a bunch of Black films. It's a great educational package for the entire family. I think you're going to love it. Last but not least, if you want some books, I believe in Black books that Black people should read. Feel free to check out drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. I believe Black people should take over the education of our children. I believe that just the same way, like how the feds step in when the local government can't do their job, and they say we're taking over the investigation. I think Black people should realize that when it comes to educating your kids, they're not doing a good job. You need to take over the education of your children. Occupy your children. So occupy them with books, occupy them with conversation, occupy them with internet resources. We can guide you on that. If you want some books that I recommend for your kids, starting with things like Powernomics and all that, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. Now somebody typed in abc.com. Actually, it's abncdigital.com. But thank you, Shanita. I appreciate you. I love you. I see you in there, girl. And I'm going to try to find a way to get rid of the trolls on Twitter, man. You got a lot of crazy people on Twitter. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. And I love you. And I'm about to go take a nap, man. This whole Cosby thing done got my blood pressure up. What the hell, man? See you guys soon. Be good. Peace.